Everything that's happening out there is actually beginning inside, within our consciousness, within our thinking, our mind. And so when I have a thought, I can either allow it to come through into action, or I can dismiss it and say, no, it's a waste of time. I don't want to do this. But it actually means that if I can observe my thoughts and make sure that my thoughts are elevated and pure, then my actions will follow the same course. It sounds too simplistic to say that the state of our mind and consciousness has created the chaos in the world today, but I think it's absolutely true, because I, as a human being, have the power to decide whether I'm going to have a thought of peace and I'm going to reach out with an olive branch and say, come, let's sit together, let's dialogue together, let's try and understand each other. Or I'm going to say, well, I don't like this individual, or I don't like this community, this group of people, and I'm not going to talk to them, and they're really doing things that are wrong, and I'm just going to go out and hit them. You can see that we have this choice, and where there's ego and anger driving consciousness today in a very major way, then we see the results of violence and a lot of sorrow, a give and exchange, give and take of a lot of sorrow that's going on also. There comes a moment in one's life when one can see that if I continue to allow anger and ego to drive me in my life, I'm causing a lot of grief to myself, but I'm also damaging others around me. And if at that moment of realization I say, stop, is there a different way to be able to deal with things? And maybe that search takes me on an inner journey in which I begin to understand how to look at myself, watch my thoughts, be able to pick up the thoughts that I know are going to lead me into negativity, and to transform those thoughts into ones that are filled with purity, peace, and positivity. And one can do this if one wants to. Everything is motivated by personal choice and what it is that I would like to do. My whole life is based on that, personal choices. And when I understand that the grief that I'm experiencing is coming not so much from out there, but as a direct result of my own thoughts and feelings and actions, then I say, can I change this? I want to change this. When I have that pure thought and desire of changing myself, then I begin that journey and I cultivate that awareness of being able to watch what's going on, make a decision, and then move in the track that I decide is going to be right. So yes, transformation is my own personal choice and an inner journey. But yes, of course, if there's a community that believes in these ideas, then we support each other. In the state of just being aware of my physical identity, I'm absolutely caught up in the ego of possessions, of position, of relationships, and wanting to further myself in each of these areas. And of course, that can lead to competition, definitely, but also at some point it can lead to actual conflict, because this is mine and that is yours, or maybe I want something of yours also. I'm not content with what I have, and so I'm going to take and take and take. When I get to the awareness of the soul there's a very different awareness. There's an awareness of the inner being in which I have all the treasures that I need within myself. And when I look at you, I don't see you as the other. I don't see the color of your skin or the language that you speak or the race or religion that you belong to. I see you as my brother. I see you also as the spiritual being, a soul. And so there's an immediate rapport that establishes a connection between us. And in that state, because I'm now thinking of you and I belong together, we're one family, it means that I'm not competing with you, but rather I'm able to share and maybe even go beyond just sharing and just simply giving, because I'm able to draw on the inner resources of peace, of contentment, of joy, of love that lie within, and I'm able to share these with others. In the awareness of one family, I know that the resources of earth, of nature, belong to all of us together, and we're actually all trustees, we're stewards. We are responsible to care for nature, but also to care for each other. Mahatma Gandhi said there's always enough for everyone's need, but there isn't sufficient for any one person's greed. And I believe that's absolutely a reality. There are enough resources in the world for all of us to be living together comfortably. But it's greed and attachment that makes me say, this is mine, don't touch it, or to take yours and say, that is also mine. And so it's a change of consciousness, a shift of consciousness that's needed. And in that shift, yes, there is enough for all. And can I trust you sufficiently to say that I'm sure that you're also going to be able to share? And one of the factors about our relationship with nature is that when we learn to share together, we learn to care for nature also. At the moment, when it's just body consciousness, the physical consciousness, materialistic consciousness, then there's exploitation of nature. And there's also violence against nature. And so this consciousness of being stewards, of being trustees, means that together we care for each other, but we also care for nature and this planet of ours. So I think it's only a shift of consciousness that can help us move together to create a better world for all. First step on the spiritual journey is to come to the awareness of the inner being, the spirit, the soul, the being of light that sits here in the center of the forehead. And the next step on my journey is to connect with the divine. And the divine is the source of all positive attributes. Now just imagine if you had access to infinite love, total peace, and absolute joy, what a wonder that would be. Well, this connection with the divine offers me the possibility of all of these treasures and many, many more. And so when I begin to receive these, I know that I have a connection with the inexhaustible source. And if I can be an instrument, then I'm able to tap into that energy and be able to share it with others, and there's plenty for all. And I don't need any reciprocal return at this moment, in the sense that I'm not doing it to win favors. I'm not winning it. I'm not doing anything to be able to have prestige or position, but I'm truly just filled with joy at what I have received. And there's that zeal and enthusiasm to share it with all others around me so that they can benefit too. So from soul consciousness to having this awareness of being an instrument is a very, very important step in the journey, in which then we move further into the awareness of being trustees. In this awareness of being a trustee, there is a lightness of spirit in which I don't feel burdened by anything heavy at all. And it means I'm not burdened by material things, but neither am I burdened by waste thoughts. how and what and if and but and maybe and what if. So one is released from all those things that carry anxiety and fear of loss and grief at loss. Rather, it's a journey in which you feel very light, very comfortable, very easy, knowing that if I keep moving according to the spiritual laws, in which I'm not allowing myself to get into any of the traps of ego and greed and attachments and so on, it means that I do the work I need to do with honesty, with integrity, and the return of it comes in that whatever my needs are provided. This is a reality of experience. And so it's a life that's filled with a lot of joy and freedom. And so, yes, being a trustee means that there's no burden of any type.